Tonight I'm going to discuss Luciferian or Adversarial Magick and where to begin, and some avenues that you should consider in exploring the path of magic. Now, within my basic philosophy, if you consider the philosophy of all of the grimoires that I've published, and even if you look into the philosophy of wisdom of Eosphoros, this philosophy, in order for the magical journey, if you will, the initiatory part, to be impactful, you must completely embrace the philosophy and apply it to your life. This is not an overnight act. This is not something that takes a few weeks to do or a few months to do, or having contact on numerous groups, so-called Luciferian groups. This is something that requires a much deeper consideration. It requires somebody who has the strength, fortitude, and focus of mind to be able to dedicate themselves to the path. First, I'd like to say that utilizing roughly the 11 points of power from Wisdom of Eosphoros, these are the key denominators, if you will, that will lead you into the path of Luciferian magical practice, if that is your will. Many have asked me, where do I begin? They buy 5 or 6 or more of my grimoires and are not sure. Well, first you must understand that applying the philosophy requires a difference in the way that you think. And you may have a complete alignment with the philosophy, but there will be many things that you have to explore and overcome in order to fully understand and kind of grasp the potential that you have. Understand that early in the philosophy, I don't preach or indicate that you should believe this or that or adopt this paradigm of thought or another. You must do what feels innately instinctual to yourself. That's very important in the liberation, the self-liberation in Luciferianism, because you're not going from one dogmatic religion to another. Luciferianism is not a religion which dictates a dogmatic path. Now, the principles which bind one to the spirituality of Luciferianism take a while to manifest and take a while to take form, if you will, within your own sphere of life. Upon applying these things, you start to calculate who you are as a person, your weaknesses, your strengths, and you'll begin to formulate some goals that you want to achieve. Now, these are, of course, going to be materialistic goals, things you want to do in life, but they can also be dependent upon how you approach these problems in your life. This could be a problem with the way you think, certain things you say or do which have dire results or results that you're not most pleased about in life. Many people who are not Luciferian have things happen to them and say either A, it's God's will, B, everyone's always unfair to them, or C, just you don't know why things are going on, and they'll consult tarot cards, readers, etc. to try to find the answer, and the answer almost always lies with your way of perception, your way of thinking, and your way of application within the world that you are in. If you look at works like New Testament, let's say the Book of Revelations, and you consider the symbolism of the red dragon or the beast, the symbols of, quote, Satan. These symbols are symbols in other cultures, contemporary cultures of that time, to be powerful, strong, ruling, and conquering powers. That's why the symbols are dragon and all these things which over time, with the Christianization and the monotheistic religion control, people view as, oh, that's not a very good thing, that's terrifying. Well, the dragon is a symbol of power and wisdom. It's related to the serpent. It has so many different connotations. It was used as a banner of war for numerous cultures because it was a conquering guide, an instinctual drive, if you will. Luciferians embrace the symbol of the adversary on many different levels, as the bringer of light, the one who breaks the chains, liberates, if you will, or the accuser, the opposer, the one who questions everything and acts accordingly to their will. And then from a spiritual sense, an understanding that we are both composed of primal or dark aspects of our psyche, our unconscious mind, as evolved creatures. And finally, of course, our higher articulation or conscious mind that can balance and guide and channel that dark impulse into a creative, beneficial thing for not only ourselves, but the society we live in. All of the imagery of Luciferian magic, at some level, tests and challenges those who approach it. Now, instead of saying gods, and demons, often I use the term deific mask. Now, this is a generalization that anybody can really understand, no matter how you approach your spirituality. A deific mask is a loose, if you will, representation, a symbol, an archetype of a specific type of power in the unconscious mind, but also relating to your conscious mind as well as within nature. Now, understand that the New Testament called Satan the god of this world, the prince of this world, if you will. And you read in my Bible, the Adversary, Belial, as the ruler of the earth. This goes back to Anton LaVey's wonderful The Satanic Bible, an excellent introductory work. Now, Belial as Lord of the earth, if you will, or no matter what guises it is in, even Ahriman from my Draga, you will see that cause and effect matter. How you think, how you vocalize certain things, and how you act will shape that future. That is magical in itself. That is magic in its very base beginning center and center. So if you apply Luciferian philosophy, you're practicing magic. Doesn't mean you're in a circle chanting, invoking. Just your will being moved and energy being poured through that, into that goal, is magic itself. So to understand where to begin with Luciferianism, you understand that deific masks all have powers and things that they represent. How they connect with you and what you want to achieve is how you apply them. If you take Adversarial Light, a very kind of simplistic grimoire of Luciferianism that goes into the kind of Luciferian witchcraft practice. I go into very different basics and associations from different magical paths. It talks about very basic things like controlling the mind, shaping the mind, basic practice of invocation, of, if you will, prayer to elevate the self, to focus yourself. There are numerous casting the circle rituals. One of the key aspects and symbols, if you will, is the invocation of Cain. Cain is the goat god or of blackened fire. Now, the concept of the black flame or divine consciousness goes all the way back to Mesopotamia, which you will see in my Grimoire Mascom Hole, Babylonian Magic, or the forthcoming Sebeti, which is Mesopotamian sorcery and demonology. Malamu is one title for this divine, terrifying radiance. This is an expression of the will. If you take my Grimoire Dragon of the Two Flames, for those interested in the origins of Baal or Yam or Leviathan, even to an extent Yahweh, to understand how that developed, take this grimoire, because this goes through the lands of Canaan all the way through the cults of Canaan, of which the Hebrews shaped their Yahweh cult over. This goes into the practice of necromancy. Now let's explain. Someone who goes into the practice of Luciferianism, especially if they're interested in necromancy or some of the darker aspects, I advise that you don't enter into that until you have a solid 6-month or a year grasp in the practice of Luciferian magic. That means you've accomplished some goals and you've been able to validate the many levels of which initiation occurs. This is a very actually not an involved, intense, oh, what do I do practice. You have to trust in your instincts and use your imagination. Taking Dragon and the Two Flames and understanding the symbols of the pentagram and all of the different things that go into self-initiation, and then understanding why these symbols are used is essential. So look through them. Take the time to read some of these things. If you have no interest in some of the telepathic origins of demons and things like that, and if you're more into the Persian witchcraft area or the demonology of ancient Persia, then I advise Drauga. Drauga goes into the Utukdino, or the demonic avenues of Ahriman, as the prince of this world, and also through the Devas, Bronze Age, pre-Rigveda deities. These deific masks represent a violent primal urge within all of us, which can be used to good effect within our communities and within ourselves. One of the aims of the great work, if you will, of Luciferianism is coming into contact or communion, awareness, if you will, of your daemon. The daemon is also known as the holy guardian angel or the true will. This is inherent desire and your potential, your visualized potential in excellence, perpetual excellence, because you will never fully achieve the height of what you visualize greatness being. It will always evolve and always change, and that's what's great about it. The personal God is not something you bow to. This is what you visualize yourself as becoming, in a spiritual sense or in a more or less a dreaming literal sense. It's your guide. As you develop a means of practice, you will decide upon a ritual or a ceremony that you can perform daily for a period of time, and that'll be up to you. And that period of time, you will throw yourself into the ceremony, and it has to work within within your schedule. It has to be something that is either simple or as elaborate as you want it to be, but it needs to be precisely spiritual and intensely involved. With every word you recite, you throw yourself into the invocation, and you exhaust yourself in this. Some use exercise, intense walking, hiking, running. Any of these things can help stimulate and focus this type of a ritual. Coming into contact with your daemon will be a gradual process, and it will be ever enveloping. It will proceed, and it will take different turns in your life, and it will be enhanced or decreased by the things you do in life. Good decisions in certain areas will increase this awareness and this type of power. Remember, when humans use their brain, when we think, we create energy. There is an energy wave that's measurable that's created from this. So when you empower and throw energy and more into it, you're going to achieve a result accordingly. As you continue to practice Luciferianism, it's very important that you keep a journal and that you have purpose for everything you do. Purpose is very important because this will envelop and create and enhance the spirituality that you're seeking to attain. You need to understand the symbols of the adversary from a Luciferian perspective. You need to be able to verbalize what your philosophy entails. Your philosophy, if you consider Luciferianism, is towards self-excellence, but also a balance between the darkness and the light. Dark is not just destructive. Dark is also our nourishing, our rest, our dreaming sense of the mind, where we may liberate ourselves from daily consciousness in the sense of cause and effect. But it also plays an effect on who we are. Controlling our dark desires and shaping them and giving them an outlet that's creative is equally as important as anything else we do in life. That's why the symbols of the adversary, the archetypes, are sometimes terrifying to the uninitiated. For me, they're symbols of great beauty, strength, and wonderfully empowering. Symbols such as Christ or something like that, someone who died for people he doesn't know, who gives up this world, that's of no interest to me. But the adversary as a spiritual symbol is, because it's motivation, and it's so much more to somebody who's kind of validated this practice in their life. Approaching ritual demands an impassioned invocation, if you will. Let's take the darkening of the flame, consecrating the fire to Ahriman in Drauga. One of the traditional chants that we utilize is the Kemna Manu, which is the consecration of the black fire. You build a small fire, it can be a gel fire or something that's contained that you can utilize on your own. Traditionally, Zoroastrians had the fire for Ahura Mazda, and it was pure, and you had to keep certain things away from this fire. But for the practitioner of the Ahrimanian ritual, the Yutuk Dano, you will put some hair in the fire, you will use saliva to put in the fire to consecrate it to the power, the motivating power of Ahriman. Now, when you recite invocations, you want to do it in a way that imposes power over your environment. Now, if you're doing a ritual and you're walking, or you're doing it in public in the sense that you can't wear robes and you have to keep quiet, then you vibrate it inside your mind. And that's totally just as significant as doing a ceremonial practice. Consider the first line of Banama Araman. That's in the name of Ahriman. And how would you resound that or recite that? Banama Araman. Banama Araman. Banama Araman. There's no exact precise way of intoning that, but you want to intone it in a way that it creates the effect in your mind, that opens that eye within your mind. And you recite the traditional inverted invocation, "What protector hast thou given me, O Menu?" These are inversions, if you will, of the traditional prayers to Ahura Mazda. And in calling these dark forces, you're liberating your mind and opening the gates, if you will, to slowly fuel and raise up that daemon within, that special and unique form which you will feed and grow within yourself. Invocations are very important in that sense. There's something called steoda, which are vibrations of sound created through mantras. So using Ahrimanic yoga in that sense, and then reciting the deva that is befitting the result that you want, is something to do. Now let's consider what is hell in Luciferianism. From my first grimoire, one thing I've learned early is that hell is a hidden place. It is the spiritual place of rest within yourself. It's something that you can connect with. It's something that bestows hidden knowledge and power to you. It's not a place of torture or death or burning or anything like that. But hell is partly within yourself. You create it. So hell is from a word called helan, an Anglo-Saxon word, which means a secret or hidden place. Often in astral projection, you will invoke the gates of Arazura to open those. That's the mouth of hell. And entering this space, you kind of attain, I guess, if you will, initiatory knowledge about yourself and about what you want and how to go about doing it. These types of ceremonies in the Drauga will lead you to that. Also, Dragon of the Two Flames has mirrored, if you will, although in a different culture and a context, of invocations. You're working with Leviathan, with Mot, with Azazel, to even the Clepothic Samael or Lilith. All of these are very important. In Mascom Hul and the forthcoming Sabeti, we have Ereshkigal and Nergal. All of these challenge and inspire the Yadis, or the Black Adept. Luciferians interested in Egyptian magical practice will want to attain the Grimoire Necro Minion, and this is based from an early Luciferian named Charles Pace. This grimoire gives you a very balanced approach, and authentic for that matter, to the Egyptian magical practice itself. It's very balanced. It's not, it invokes a wide variety of different gods or deific mask, and their potentials in your spiritual development. So I wanted to give this consideration with your practice, in that understand magic is a very real thing, and ceremony and ritual can empower your path in life if that's your calling. Luciferians who are ready for the next step in magical practice, take any one of my grimoires and read for the common association between all of them. You're going to find the philosophy, how to apply it, and also how to utilize the magical practice involved. You don't need to contact somebody about how do I do this or that. It's all there. Use the knowledge that's there, and the key to your gates, if you will, is using your instinct and using your imagination and having some common goals that you can reach into and invoke up. So when you hear people talk about anti-Christian or satanic or antichrist or Luciferian, a Luciferian or an antichrist stands outside of monotheistic religion. They might put those clothes of the beast on us, but we don't think like they do. Nor are we interested in destroying any of those things. We want to build and shape our world in a creative way, in a balanced way. Not trying to save the planet, but we're not trying to do all the things that current religions seem to protest to hate, but always seem to do. It begins with you. This path is successful. Luciferianism is successful because of the practitioner, not because of a book. So take it and manifest it. That's how this manifestation of the left-hand path becomes something uniquely individual to every single person. Thank you for listening, and I look forward to having more of these soon.